She was afraid of the pain when getting in for drip due to illness. The man stubbornly pricked his own arm 999 times, just to find the most precise and least painful spot. She usually liked to walk barefoot, so the man covered the entire villa with soft carpets. However, because of a scheming man's full of holes lie, she resolutely stood in the freezing snow for a full day and night. Even after running a high fever and being unconscious for 3 days and nights, she still forced the man to let her leave. And the moment of her rebirth was precisely at this time. Thinking of the man she had hurt again and again in her previous life, tears instantly streamed from her eyes. Due to her sore throat, she could only let out a hoarse voice, filled with both grievance and unwillingness, like reminiscing, like longing. I want to see Yichen. Right now, Saran only wanted to see Ling Yichen. Ignoring the pain in her body, she stumbled out of the room. All she wanted now was for that man to hold her again. The servants nearby were terrified seeing Saran like this. They were scared out of their wits. The young lady's health was already in such a state. Surely she wasn't still thinking of escaping? At this moment, Saran didn't have an ounce of strength left. After just a few steps, she fell to the ground with a thud. Zhao face instantly turned pale with fright. They all knew clearly that the woman before them was the master's most treasured person. If she were injured from this fall, they could never repay it even with their lives. At this moment, Saran couldn't care less about the pain. Saran just wants to go downstairs now. She wants to see Ling Yichen quickly. She has so many things she wants to say to him. Right at this moment, a dark figure swooped in, completely enveloping Saran. The man said nothing, bent over and scooped up Saran from the floor in one motion. His face was dark, his thin lips pressed tightly together. He walked toward the bedroom without looking back. Saran just stared dumbfounded at the man who had picked her up. With just one glance, her tears burst forth again like a broken dam. In the short 10+ minutes since waking up, not a single moment had been like this one, where she was so acutely aware that she was still alive. The man didn't want to look at the girl in his arms. He was sick of the woman's cold, ice-piercing eyes. He had clearly already decided to let go. But upon hearing the woman had woken up, he still couldn't control his desire to see this girl one more time. He left a room full of executives and ran all the way here just like that. The moment he saw the girl fallen on the ground, his heart still ached uncontrollably. Earlier, he just wanted to take a distant look, planning to leave after just one glance, but in the end, he still couldn't let go. But what was this woman doing now? She's crying just because he held her? Does she detest him that much? So much that she can't even stand being held? Ling Yichen didn't say a word, just carried Saran back to the bedroom like this, gently placed her on the bed. I don't know why. Ling Yichen felt that Saran was very different at this moment. All the way back to the room while carrying her just now, he felt that this woman was attached to him. But when he thought about everything that had happened recently, Ling Yichen laughed mockingly in his heart. He must be crazy to have such an illusion. This woman clearly hated him, so much so that she would rather stand in the rain and snow for a full day and night to force him to let her leave. Thinking of these things, his heart felt as if it were being heavily weighed down by a boulder. He couldn't catch his breath. Clearly, he could control everything. Everyone had to bow before him. But this woman alone was like his natural nemesis, pointing the sharpest blade at him. Yet even if covered in wounds, he doesn't want to let go either. Saran kept crying, clutching tightly onto Ling Yichen's sleeve. She had so much she wanted to say. But the moment she saw Ling Yichen, her throat felt as if it were glued shut. She couldn't utter a single word. If you can recover this time, I will let you go. I will never bother you again in this lifetime. Ling Yichen said these resolute words. Yet each word felt like a stab to his heart. The delayed pain was so intense he could barely breathe. But he couldn't bear to watch this woman hurt herself any longer. He could only choose to let go. The light that had finally gathered in Soren's eyes shattered instantly. As Ling Yichen spoke his final word, Ling Yichen hardened his heart. She struggled to pull open the corner of her clothes that was being tugged. Lying on the bed, Soren clearly felt a pull. But she didn't dare let go at this moment. She opened her mouth. But because she was too frantic, not a single word would come out. The more frantic she became, the less sound she could make. Soren's tears, which had just stopped, gushed out again. All her reluctance and fear could only be vented in this way at this moment. Soren, just what do you want? Do you think this is fun? Trampling all my pride. Only then will you be satisfied? Ling Yichen couldn't understand this woman. During this period, this woman had been avoiding him like the plague. Because she detested him, she didn't even allow him, the owner, to set foot in the main villa. Hearing these words, Soren only felt a sharp pain in her chest, as if countless sharp knives were stabbing deep into it. She finally understood the pain Ling Yichen had felt in their previous life. Soren opened her mouth again, but her throat felt blocked by something. She tried several times to speak, but just couldn't get the words out. In the end, she could only tightly grasp Ling Yichen's hand, holding him as she wept silently. Ling Yichen froze completely. Since bringing Soren back to the villa, when had they ever had such an intimate moment? But now, looking at the woman so close to him, his heart seemed to skip a beat. He didn't dare move a muscle. Ling Yichen only felt that all the behavior Soren is currently displaying, it's just a hallucination from a high fever. Perhaps in Soren's eyes at this moment, she mistook him for Han Muse. Soren, do you know what you're doing? I am not Han Muse. You're hugging the wrong person, Ling Yichen said somewhat angrily. But weren't such words a form of self-inflicted pain for him? Soren's barely controlled tears burst forth once again. Just how much had she hurt this man to make him so insecure? Soren gazed at the man, whose eyes were gradually losing their light. The next second, her soft lips pressed directly against the man's mouth. Ling Yichen was completely flustered. A kiss he had always dreamed of. But when he actually received it. But in his heart, he was afraid. He didn't know what was wrong with Soren. Ling Yichen flusteredly pushed Soren away. He wanted to speak and wake Soren up. And ran, you emph. But as soon as the sound started, Soren covered his mouth again. This time, however, it was much more forceful than before. A strong metallic taste of blood filled their mouths, like a stimulant exciting the nerves. Ling Yichen's rationality was gradually crumbling. Right at that moment, the door was pushed open. Li Junan rushed in a great hurry. Ling Yichen, what is this woman fussing about now? His words abruptly cut off. Li Junan, holding a medical kit, froze in the doorway. The moment the door was pushed open, Ling Yichen snapped back to his senses. But right now, his mind was a bit of a mess. He didn't know what this woman before him was trying to stir up. Now, come in and check her. She seems a bit out of it. Li Junan's gaze fell on the woman lying obediently on the bed. A trace of doubt rose in his heart. Was it his imagination? Why did he feel that the Soren before him seemed like a completely different person? Why was the 4 removed? Never mind, let's take her temperature first. If the fever's gone down, she should be fine. As he spoke, Li Junan took out a thermometer. But the next second, his hand paused. Then he glanced sideways at Ling Yichen. You take her temperature. This needs to be placed under the armpit. As soon as these words were spoken, Ling Yichen's body stiffened. A trace of imperceptible panic flashed in his eyes. For a moment, his hand froze in place, not even daring to take it. Seeing this, Li Junan's frown deepened. Should we haven't Liu come in to help? But before Li Junan could finish speaking, a pair of pale, slender hands reached over, took the thermometer from Li Junan's hand, and gently placed it under the armpit. Both Li Junan and Ling Yichen were stunned. They had never seen Soran so cooperative with treatment. But just as the two were bewildered, Soran tugged at Ling Yichen's sleeve. Only this time, there were no sobs like before. Instead, her small face was full of grievance. Li Junan, standing to the side, silently observed all of this. He had too many doubts in his heart. Could an illness change someone beyond recognition? Or had the person before him been taken over by someone else? What's wrong? Are you still uncomfortable somewhere? A glint flashed in Ling Yichen's eyes, and his words were filled with concern. Soran held back her tears. She couldn't keep crying like this. Coming back to life wasn't meant for her to waste time like this. Soran pointed to her throat, opened her mouth, and let out a sound even worse than a crow's call. Li Junan understood what Soran meant. Had Soran's throat checked. Only then did he speak. You've had a high fever for 2 days and 2 nights. No wonder your throat hurts. I'll prescribe an anti-inflammatory medication for you later. Drink more warm water these next couple days. Try not to speak. You'll be better in a few days. After speaking, Li Junan glanced at Ling Yichen again. But upon seeing the full extent of worry in Ling Yichen's eyes, he shook his head helplessly. Having known Ling Yichen for almost 20 years, the most esteemed man in North City from what he remembered, yet because of a woman, shed all his pride and self-respect. Who would believe it if it got out? After about 5 minutes, Soran took out the thermometer and handed it to Li Junan. 98.2 degrees Fahrenheit, nothing serious anymore. Please help her reinsert that for drip. After speaking, Li Junan took the medical kit and left. The suddenly quiet bedroom was filled with an awkward atmosphere. Feeling Soran's intense gaze, Ling Yichen felt somewhat nervous. Soran still remembered the words she said when Ling Yichen first brought her back to Tang Palace. Without her permission, Ling Yichen was not allowed to step foot into the main building. Although Ling Yichen was heartbroken at the time, in order to keep Soran, he resolutely moved out of the main building. I'll help you reinsert the needle. Bear with it, it might hurt a bit. After Ling Yichen finished speaking, he also took a look at Soran, as if seeking her consent. Soran saw this scene. His heart ached as well. How difficult must his past self have been to make such a precious man come so cautious and careful. Seeing that Soran did not resist, Ling Yichen then took hold of Soran's hand. Ling Yichen had never studied medicine, but because Soran once fell ill and threw a tantrum again, refusing to let anyone else give her an injection, in the end, Ling Yichen had to learn in a hurry for an hour. Afraid of missing the vein, he insisted on pricking his own arm again and again. Just as he finished the injection and was about to stand up, Soran reached out and grabbed Ling Yichen again, shaking her head at him repeatedly. Ling Yichen stood there stunned. After a moment of silence, he finally spoke. You want me to stay here? Soran immediately nodded. Then she opened her mouth, thinking that since her emotions had calmed down, she might try to see if she could make a sound. But as soon as Soran's mouth moved, Ling Yichen spoke up. Junan said you shouldn't talk these few days. We can discuss everything once you've recovered. Soran grew anxious. He was afraid Ling Yichen would let her go again. In her panic, tears once again uncontrollably streamed down. Ling Yichen originally wanted to say more, but upon seeing Soran starting to cry again, the walls he had just built in his heart collapsed once more. He reached out and wiped away the tears at the corner of Soran's eyes. Soran, don't cry. You'll hurt your eyes like this. As long as you're happy, I'll do anything you ask. Please don't cry anymore. This comfort made Soran's heart ache even more. How foolish was I in my past life to not see this man's kindness toward me, harming him again and again. Soran wanted to speak again, but her throat hurt so much she could only cry out, don't. Seeing this, Ling Yichen's heart ached unbearably, suddenly thought of something, immediately took out his phone and handed it to Soran. Soran, type out what you want to say. Seeing the phone before her, Soran was also stunned for a moment. Right. Why is my mind so slow? If I can't speak, can't I think of another way? Yichen, stay with me. After writing these few simple words, she handed it to Ling Yichen. Ling Yichen saw the words on the phone. His expression complicated, confusion clouding his eyes. Soran, you want me to stay in the room? You before. Soran didn't let him finish. Began typing on the phone again. I was wrong in the past. Now, I figured it out. I want to be with you. Together forever and ever. Okay? Now, Ling Yichen's heart could no longer remain calm. Looking at the words on the phone in disbelief. Finally, his nose tingled slightly. A mist seemed to blur his vision. Suddenly gazed at her cautiously. Ling Yichen, who yet yearned to seek answers. His heart was both guilt-ridden and tender. He reached out and covered Ling Yichen's cheek. Ling Yichen seemed to sense something. Although he was still filled with doubt, wondering why the woman who was once like a porcupine was now so gentle. Yet, he was greedy for it. Ling Yichen treated it as a dream. Even if it was just a momentary indulgence, at least for now, he felt that he truly possessed this woman. Soran wanted to comfort this somewhat vulnerable man. A faint smile appeared on her pale face. She patted the empty space beside her. Ling Yichen was stunned. His eyes were filled with disbelief and confusion. Seeing this, Soran sighed softly, picked up her phone again, and typed a line. A Chen, sleep with me. When Ling Yichen saw this line on the phone, a glint of gold flashed in his deep, somber eyes. But, fearing it was a dream, he looked at Soran with suspicion. Soran couldn't be bothered with that anymore. She directly and forcefully pulled Ling Yichen's hand. Only then did Ling Yichen cautiously sit down. Seeing that Soran did not reject him, he slowly leaned against the headboard. Soran sighed silently. Where had this man's domineering attitude gone, the one who forcibly brought her here to discuss business? Whatever, if you won't make a move, then I'll take the initiative myself, throwing myself into your arms. Surely you won't turn me away. After thinking it over, she directly hugged the man beside her. Ling Yichen's entire body stiffened. He didn't dare to move a muscle. After a long silence, he finally blurted out, You, what's wrong with you? Hearing this, Soran let out another soft sigh. Look at what this man has reduced himself to. A man known to outsiders for his decisiveness and ruthlessness, now looked like a frightened little puppy. Gazing at the man before her, she gently kissed his face. Then she lay down on the man's chest and closed her eyes. In her previous life, she was blind and foolish, her vision clouded by that ridiculous notion of family affection. Now that she's been given a chance to start over, it was time to pay it all back. But more importantly, she wanted to cherish her man properly. Ling Yichen, leaning against the bed, was bewildered. He even suspected that he was the one sick with the high fever. He murmured to himself, Ran, I had already decided to let you go. Why are you doing this? He reached out and gently stroked the girl's small, exquisite face. His eyes were filled with unconcealable love. Having experienced such tenderness and reliance, how could he ever let go? In the dimly lit room, Ling Yichen stared blankly at the ceiling. Ran, let's stay entangled with each other for a lifetime, okay? Even if you never love me, even if you hate me, let's just keep going on like this, okay? Whimpering sounds. The woman in his arms let out a charming, drowsy murmur. As if responding, Ling Yichen muttered to himself. It had snowed all night outside. But compared to the previous few days, this night, the entire Tin Palace seemed to be filled with warmth everywhere. Early the next morning, the early rising Soran looked at the empty bed and couldn't help feeling a trace of nostalgia in his heart. Just then, the room door opened. Miss Su, you're awake. Would you like to have breakfast in the room? Or shall I assist you with washing up first? And then you can go downstairs to eat? With every word the girl spoke, there was a sense of caution and care, showing how difficult Soran must have been to serve in the past. Sister Zhao Ya, where is Yichen? Zhao Ya, who was asked, visibly startled, clearly shocked by the form of address. In the past, Soran would have directly called them by their master's full name. Sir is handling official business at Yuan. Miss Su, are you looking for Sir? Hearing that Ling Yichen was still discussing business, Soran didn't say anything more. He lifted the covers and prepared to get out of bed. But upon seeing this, Zhao Ya rushed over in a flash, immediately acting as if serving an Empress Dowager, reaching out to support Soran. However, the next second, Soran pushed her away. No need, I'm not disabled. Hearing Soran say this, Zhao Ya trembled all over, almost dropping to her knees on the spot. Miss Su, Zhao Ya looked at the stunningly beautiful girl before her. I always feel like this girl is different from before. Nothing figured some things out. You go ahead first. I'll come down to eat after I wash up. After a quick wash, Soran walked to the wardrobe. Looking at the few suits in the closet, she thought about the previous failed escape attempts. In a fit of anger, she cut up all of Ling Yichen's clothes and threw them out the window. But Ling Yichen wasn't angry at all at the time. He only told her to be careful when picking up the clothes and not to hurt her hands. Soran felt a bit dazed. How blind had she been in her previous life? Lobby of Building B. The workers in the manor were busy, quite lively, but it was only for a moment. As soon as Soran appeared on the first floor, the workers, who were happily chatting, immediately fell silent. They lowered their heads one after another, afraid that they might accidentally offend this little troublemaker. Soran frowned. Who could she blame? It was all her own doing. As soon as she reached the dining room, she could feel those behind her visibly sigh in relief. The corner of her mouth twitched. Am I some kind of monster? That terrifying? But then she thought about her nickname in the underworld, and it was indeed quite scary. Forget it, sweet and cute. Sweet and cute. Be a soft, adorable little wife by the domineering CEO's side. The contrast is actually pretty good. Soran served herself a bowl of plain congee. Looking at the empty-bowl in front of me, suddenly felt an emptiness in my heart. Where's Yichen? Has he eaten? Mr. and Miss Su usually dine at the Yuan residence. At this hour, he should have already eaten. As soon as the words were spoken, a servant hurried in from outside, then whispered something into Zhao Ya's ear. Zhao Ya cautiously glanced at Soran, who was quietly eating porridge, and spoke timidly. Miss Gu, sir, is at the door. He wants to come in. Before she could finish her sentence, Zhao Ya saw a dark figure flash before her eyes. And then Soran was gone from the dining room. Soran had never imagined that one day she would be so desperate to see someone. At the same time, she was also cursing herself. This was clearly Ling Yichen's territory. But just because she was being overly dramatic and unreasonable, he, the master, couldn't even enter his own place without getting permission from an outsider. Ling Yichen was in the middle of a video conference when he heard the servant report that Soran had come downstairs. So he immediately left all the executives and rushed over to the main building. Originally, Ling Yichen was going to come straight in, but remembering all that had happened before, he still stopped himself at the door. On the other side, Soran was running eagerly. Clearly, it was only a few dozen steps from the dining room to the villa's main entrance. But at this moment, it felt like there was an insurmountable mountain between them. Finally, she saw that extremely humble figure at the door, and the next second, Soran threw herself into Ling Yichen's arms. She was just like a soft, adorable kitten. This instantly made the man let go of all his tension. Yichen appa. Carry me to the dining room. Ling Yichen had never been treated like this before. For a moment, he froze in place, not moving at all. Soran looked at the dazed Ling Yichen, and her soft, thin lips directly pressed against Ling Yichen's cold mouth. Yichen appa. Soran is hungry. She can't walk anymore. Will you carry her to the dining room? That one call of Yichen appa completely broke Ling Yichen's defenses. He became entirely at Soran's command. There wasn't the slightest hint of refusal left. Yichen, under the astonished gazes of the servants, carried the girl step by step toward the dining room. At this moment, all the servants in the main building were stunned, as if witnessing the eighth wonder of the world. Some even secretly pinched themselves, afraid they were seeing things. Yichen appa spoke up for me, a ancestor. How could Ling Yichen refuse? In this situation, even if he were asked to die immediately, he wouldn't hesitate in the slightest. Everyone says, Ling Yichen is completely done for by Soran this lifetime. Ling Yichen never refutes it. Because it's the truth. He is willing. As long as Soran can stay by his side always. He is content. Yichen appa. Everything I said last night was true. I won't run away anymore. From now on, I want to stay with you always. Forever and ever. Ling Yichen suddenly felt a sting in his nose. His gloomy world seemed to be pierced by a ray of light, giving him hope. Soran, can I trust you? Seeing the man's expression, Soran couldn't help but feel a pang of heartache. She reached out and directly embraced Ling Yichen. I love you. Can you trust me one more time? I really won't run away anymore. Even if you try to drive me away. I won't leave you. Okay, I trust you. Soran, this time it's your own choice to stay by my side. If I find out you're lying to me, I'll break your legs. Even if it means confining you. I wouldn't care. Hearing these somewhat vicious words, Soran wasn't angry at all. Break his legs? That probably won't happen. As for confining her, well, she even wants this man to capture her heart. The two of them fed each other as if no one else was around. You feed him a bite. He feeds you a bite. Watching from the side, Zhao Ya kept rubbing her eyes, wondering if there was something wrong with her vision. And just at that moment, rapid footsteps were heard outside the restaurant. Along with them came a man's anxious voice. Young Master Chen, our goods. Before he could finish his sentence, upon seeing the intimate behavior of the two in the restaurant, all sound abruptly stopped, leaving only a stunned expression on his face. What's the matter, so rash? Have you forgotten the rules here? Ling Yichen's good mood was interrupted. No wonder he looked displeased. The man immediately snapped back to attention. Not daring to look at the two any further, Ling Yichen noticed the urgency in the man's eyes, reached out and ruffled the fluffy little head in his arms. Soran, I need to handle something. You keep eating, okay? Soran nodded understandingly. She knew this man by her side. She has many hidden identities, and many important matters to handle. But just as Ling Yichen was about to leave, she spoke up, Yichen, can you buy me a phone? Due to her previous failed escape attempt, her phone had been confiscated by Ling Yichen. He also cut off all her means of contact with the outside world. In this day and age, it's almost impossible to get by without a phone. Since she had decided to live properly with Ling Yichen, she also needed to reclaim some of her identities. Hearing Soran's request, Ling Yichen grew tense again. His gaze toward Soran held a few more traces of wariness. Soran knew exactly what the man was worried about. She kissed the corner of Ling Yichen's mouth again. Yichen appa. I won't cause any more trouble. Please believe me, okay? Ling Yichen was completely defenseless against such a soft, adorable, and obedient Soran. A few gentle, coaxing words, and he surrendered completely. All his worries, all his tension, he didn't care about any of it anymore. Alright, I'll have someone deliver a phone to you later. Is there anything else? No, you can go ahead with your work. Inside the office. Young Master Chen. Miss Su, do you really believe what she says? Shut up, Shanzor. Soran is the lady of this house. And the only woman for me, Ling Yichen. I expect you to show her respect. Shanzor stiffened. I faintly felt a pain in my back. Thinking back to what happened a while ago, those words from the three sides were on the tip of my tongue. Swallowed it back hard. Sorry, young Master Chen. We were just worried about you. I know what I'm doing. I'll pretend I didn't hear it this time. Don't let it happen again. Speak, what's wrong with that batch of goods? Shanzor immediately switched to business. Someone is trying to hack into our internal system. The other party seems to have hired several top 10 experts from the hacker rankings to steal the core data of that batch of goods. Shan Yo is having a hard time holding them off. Ling Yichen opened the laptop on the desk, then immediately entered a website Cody named Vera. Ling Yichen's gaze was sharp. He just calmly and indifferently said a few words. 30 seconds. Then his slender index finger was seen. Tap 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 went the frantic typing on the keyboard, so fast that afterimages appeared. 28 seconds later, sent the 3 intercepted identities to Amal. Someone else would handle it. Denzel, standing to the side, could only silently pray for those 3 hackers. After dealing with these 3 hackers, Ling Yichen stared at his own system for a long time. Seems like the firewall still needs to be strengthened. Ling Yichen's hacking skills were impressive, but he wasn't arrogant enough to think he was the best in the world. At least in the hacking world, there was still a mysterious master who was elusive and rarely seen. The one who consistently ranked first on the hacker charts, King. But over the past 6 months, this hacking master seemed to have vanished without a trace. He no longer took any jobs. There were even rumors that this master was no longer alive. Contacting Silver Fox was pointless. Only King could build the firewall. Denzel, standing nearby, was troubled upon hearing this. Young Master Chen, we placed a 300 million order just half a month ago, but the other party completely ignored us. Do you think that King is really dead? No. He takes jobs entirely on a whim. We'll keep placing orders with Silver Fox periodically. I refuse to believe King will never accept. That batch of goods will be delivered in 3 days. I'll go personally. Upon hearing Ling Yichen's words, Shanzor's face instantly changed color. Young Master Chen, it's too dangerous. The Wei Junan within your body. Aren't there suppressant antidotes over there? Ling Yichen said, raising a hand to cover his own chest, a bitter smile flickering at the corner of his mouth. Shanzor's frown deepened. Hey! We've been searching all over the north and south of the city for half a year now, and still haven't found any trace of the poison doctor. Enough. You've been talking more and more lately. Get Soran a phone. Make it the latest model. In the bedroom, Soran lay lazily in a rocking chair, idly fiddling with her phone, looking at the endless stream of messages popping up. Almost all of them were words of concern for her. Has our little junior sister been wronged in North City? Who bullied you? You must tell your senior brother, okay? I'll stand up for you. Oh, I'm going to the capital in 3 days. And my route passes by North City. The master asked me to bring you some Huiyan pills. If it's convenient, let's meet up. What do you mean, your route passes by North City? Going to the capital from there doesn't require passing through North City at all. This is clearly second senior brother's excuse. Soran fought back tears, scrolling through the group messages online, seeing the one with the nickname Spry Little Old Man, but not daring to tap on it. Just then, the phone buzzed again. It was another message from second senior brother, little junior sister. I just want to see if you're doing well. Seeing this message, Soran could no longer hold back, and her tears burst forth. Thinking back to 2 months ago, I disregarded severing the master-apprentice relationship, and still insisted on marrying that scumbag. I must have broken all their hearts. Thinking of this, Soran no longer hesitated, and directly sent a voice message, I miss you all. Then she found the person with the nickname Spirited Old Man. Master, I'm sorry. I was wrong. In less than 3 seconds after sending the message, the group chat exploded with activity. Little junior sister, what's wrong? Did that man bully you? Don't be afraid. Second senior brother will go to North City tomorrow to teach him a lesson. How dare he bully my little junior sister? I'll make sure he's bedridden for 6 months. Little junior sister, we all miss you so much. Master said, since you've made your decision, we all respect your choice. But if you're wronged out there all alone, don't ever hold it in. You must tell us. Your senior brothers will stand up for you. By now, Soran was already crying so hard she could barely see her phone. Child, your master was also blinded by anger that day. No matter what, you will always be this old man's most cherished apprentice. Remember, don't be afraid of trouble outside. If anything happens, I'll be here. This old bones will bear it for you. Reading this, Soran was already sobbing uncontrollably. She collected herself a little and simply replied, I'm doing well in North City. Also, Han Muse and I are completely done. As for the reason, please don't ask for now. By the way, second senior brother, bring me some disinfectant pills when you come over tomorrow. Junior sister, what's wrong with you? Soran was afraid that the people in the group would worry. Immediately explained, it's for a friend. After a few of us finished catching up, Soran clicked on the chat labeled Road Struggle Group. Group Leader. Are you there? As soon as Soran popped up, the group exploded again. Boss. Oh my. Boss, you finally showed up. Boss, what have you been up to these past 2 months? Flower Demon said you found a man. What? Boss found a man? Who in this world is even worthy of our boss? Soran watched the rapidly flooding messages, feeling a bit speechless. Simply went straight to the group leader. Help me look into something. Investigate the Han family in North City, focusing on Han Muse. Also, look into the cause of death of Mr. Gu Ming's, the second son of the Gu family in North City. Boss, what's going on? 81 said the man you found is Han Muse. What? Did he play you? So many questions. Don't you know curiosity killed the cat? Just do as I say and investigate. Boss, don't leave yet. One more thing. The Shadow Base wants your help to build a firewall. They've already offered 500 million. Soran wasn't originally interested in this job. But just as she was about to refuse, she heard that last part 500 million. Her attitude changed immediately. 500 million just to set up a firewall? Her thoughts raced. Then she quickly typed a line. 1 billion in a week. Just a few short words. Grandpa on the other end of the phone almost jumped up excitedly from his chair. The boss is ruthless. After finishing everything, Soran suddenly missed her man. The first step with Yichen Appa. That means sharing a bed from now on. Is Sister Ya and Yichen at Ya Yuan? But before the other could respond, she dashed off and disappeared. After Dodgy snapped out of it, she hurriedly grabbed a down jacket and chased after her. At the entrance of Ya Yuan, Miss Su, apologies. Unauthorized personnel are not allowed to enter. The lead bodyguard was relatively polite, but his words were somewhat unpleasant. Why don't you go ask your boss first and see if I'm allowed in? The bodyguards were prepared for a storm. But now, before them, the woman's attitude was unusually agreeable. Miss Su, please wait a moment. Step aside. A man's voice came from not far away. Miss Su, young Master Chen is upstairs in a video conference. Would you like to see young Master Chen now? Assistant Shan, please take me to Yichen's bedroom. Shanzor looked puzzled, but still led Soran to Ling Yichen's bedroom, hesitating to speak as he was about to leave. Soran, of course, noticed his expression. You have something to say? As she asked this question, Soran unconsciously exuded the aura of someone in authority. Shanzor felt a momentary daze. Was it an illusion? Why did it feel like this woman carried The same oppressive aura as his young master Chen? But a young girl of 18 or 19, how could she have such a strong presence? Don't worry, I won't harm your master. On the contrary, I'll send everyone who hurt him to hell. Shanzor now felt even more certain, right? This was that suffocating feeling. Then he said seriously, Miss Su, can I believe what you just said? Of course. Ling Yichen will be the only man I, Soran, ever love. Oh, right, Assistant Dan. Later, have someone move all of Yichen's things to the main building. Shanzor was busy on his phone at that moment. What? Hearing Soran's words, a flash of alertness passed through his eyes. Just as he was about to speak, a voice came from the doorway. I've said that Soran's decisions are my decisions. Hurry up and make the arrangements. Though Ling Yichen appeared calm on the surface, inside, he was beyond excited. Suddenly seeing Ling Yichen appear, she immediately threw herself into his arms. Shanzor tactfully closed the door. Inside the room, gazing up at the flawless man above her, feeling his solid chest muscles, she whimpered, I really want to pounce on him. I want to make this man my private property sooner. But would acting like this scare him away? Ugh, what era is it now anyway? It's perfectly normal for a woman to make the first move. Such a perfect man is right before her eyes. Not pouncing on him would be a waste. Thinking of this, a deep and complex desire clouded Soran's eyes. Especially when she saw Ling Yichen's sexy Adam's apple. She couldn't help but swallow. The next second, her fingertips uncontrollably brushed across the man's sexy Adam's apple. Ling Yichen's steps halted. A tingling sensation rushed from the soles of his feet throughout his entire body. His originally clear eyes also took on a shade of green. The hand around Soran's waist tightened. Soran, you? Ling Yichen's somewhat restrained and hoarse voice came from above. Soran finally snapped back to reality. Oh no, it's over. How could I just, woo? She's supposed to be a cute and adorable girl, not a little pervert. Then she began to incoherently, Yichen appa. What if I said I just wanted to touch your Adam's apple? Would you believe me? Ling Yichen was already defenseless against Soran to begin with. Now, with her unconscious teasing, he could barely hold himself together. Can a man's Adam's apple just be touched randomly? Ling Yichen forced down the fire in his heart. In a few steps, he placed Soran on the sofa. This woman is simply playing with fire. Feeling the tightness in a certain area, Ling Yichen pretended to be calm as he walked to the desk. The desk happened to block Hai's embarrassment. Yichen, I need to go out tomorrow. A sudden remark instantly extinguished the fire in Ling Yichen's heart. Soran looked at his disappointed expression and immediately burrowed into Ling Yichen's embrace. Yichen, I'm just going out to meet a friend. You didn't think I wanted to leave here, did you? Ling Yichen didn't want to admit it. Why do you have to go out to meet them? Couldn't your friend come here instead? Ling Yichen let out a soft sigh, leaning back against the sofa. A trace of sorrow flickered in his eyes. Seeing this, Soran felt a sharp pang in her heart. But she had to meet her second senior brother tomorrow. The poison in her body could only be suppressed by the detoxification pills from the valley. It concerned whether she could stay by his side in the future. After much deliberation, Soran said, Brother Acheng, if you're worried, you can have Assistant Shan go with me. I'll be back soon, just 2 hours. Alright, then I'll have Shanzor drive you. Ling Yichen really wanted to ask why he couldn't accompany her himself. But thinking about how Soran had already been so good to him, he couldn't be too greedy. Just then, the door was knocked. After Shanzor entered, he only addressed Ling Yichen, then fell silent. Soran tactfully spoke up. You two talk, I'll take a walk outside. With that, she walked out of the study, just as she was about to leave, but was moved by what Shanzor said inside. Attracted, he stopped in his tracks. Young Master Chen, Dr. Lan will arrive in Nan City tomorrow. Isn't he the top medical expert in the country? Should we ask him to take a look at your condition? Outside the door, Soren's heart suddenly tightened. Wasn't the Dr. Len they mentioned exactly his second senior brother? Is Yichen's health having problems? Thinking of this, Soren really wanted to push the door open and enter. But the next moment, he was dissuaded by Ling Yichen's words from inside. Not for now. If someone discovers our people making contact, Dr. Lan will definitely become suspicious. For now, the poison in my body can be suppressed with special medicine. We should still try to find the poison, doctor. But Shanzor was very anxious. He knew very well that the special medicine couldn't completely cure it. No buts, Shanzor. The fewer people know about me being poisoned, the better. It should be clear once this matter is exposed. What kind of turmoil would this bring? Outside the door, Soren quietly left this place. Only now, his heart felt much heavier. Birds of a feather flock together. Even something like poisoning. Both of them managed to encounter it together. It seems she's going to be very busy from now on. After Soren returned to his room, he wrote a list and handed it to Sister Ya. Find someone to buy the things on this list for me. Zhao Ya took the list. Full of confusion. Silver needles, traditional medicine. What is the young lady trying to do? Zhao Ya didn't ask further, turned around and went downstairs. More than 10 minutes later, Ling Yichen held the list delivered by Zhao Ya, as if pondering something. Listen, Soren. Prepare according to what she said. After Zhao Ya left, Ling Yichen looked at the document beside him again. Was it previously found out that Ren studied medicine? That's not clear. But the village Miss Su lived in when she was 12 or 13 did have an old Chinese medicine practitioner. Hearing this, Ling Yichen's frown was so deep it could crush a fly. Forget it, no need to investigate further. Also, arrange for Ran's schooling. She just turned 18. She should be doing things appropriate for her age. Hearing about attending school and good deeds, it became even more troublesome. Young Master Chen, what should we arrange for Miss Su to study? Junior high? The records show Miss Su didn't even finish elementary school. Ling Yichen was also stumped hearing this. Sending an 18-year-old Su Ran to junior high is deliberately making things difficult for her. High school then, directly arrange for senior year. We can arrange for university later. Shan Zuo nodded, thinking to himself that his master is such a daddy-like boyfriend. It somehow feels like he's raising a daughter. In the back garden, Su Ran walked arm in arm with Ling Yichen the whole way. One hand rested unnoticed on Ling Yichen's wrist, checking his pulse. But as time passed, a flash of green appeared in Su Ran's eyes. There are actually two types of poison. One of them is a chronic poison called Heart Devourer. Based on Ling Yichen's pulse, this poison has likely been in his body it's been about 2 or 3 years now. And the poisoner seems to have been controlling the dosage all along. Looking at it now, our ironclad defense has developed a leak. Soren suddenly remembered Ling Yichen from her past life. She could never figure it out. The alliance leader who intimidated both the righteous and the underworld. Why did his combat ability plummet so drastically in the later stages? So it was because he was harmed by poison. Ran. A man's anxious voice sounded in her ears. Ran, what's wrong? I'm fine. I was just thinking about some things. Let's go back. It's a bit cold outside. Soren casually found an excuse. She needed to go back and think carefully about how to help Ling Yichen purge the toxins from his body. If she intervened personally, I'm afraid the identity she's hidden for years would be exposed. After much internal struggle, Soren hardened her heart. A hidden identity isn't more important than a man. If the man is gone, then there's really nothing left. Inside the room, Yichen, you've been poisoned. Did you know? Ling Yichen's expression changed drastically. The look he gave Soren became several degrees more complex. Ran, what do you mean by this? even though she was his beloved. At this moment, facing the girl before him, Ling Yichen still felt increased wariness. Soran didn't mind the change in Ling Yichen's attitude. Instead, she took a bag out from the desk drawer, a set of silver needles for acupuncture, and some Chinese medicinal herbs. Ran, you. Watching Soran take out the silver needles, Ling Yichen was, I said I know a bit about medicine, and I have a way to detoxify the poison inside you. Believe it? As soon as these words were spoken, Ling Yichen just stared at Soran for a few seconds, then nodded and said, I believe you. This response actually surprised Soran a bit. But when she thought about everything this man had done for her in her past life, it wasn't so surprising after all. Then she placed her hand on Ling Yichen's wrist to check his pulse. And this time, Ling Yichen didn't hide anything. Over half a year ago, during a mission, accidentally got hit. It's the G3 virus. There's still no antidote for the infection. Actually, I had already decided to let go this time. I have at most 2 years left. No, 1 year. At most 1 year. Hearing this, Ling Yichen flashed in his eyes. What did you say? Ling Yichen wasn't afraid of death. What he feared was having finally gained a little bit of this girl's care, only to have to leave before he could fully cherish it. He couldn't bear to part with the girl before him. Soran pressed her red lips tightly together. From what Ling Yichen had just said, it was clear he didn't know he was also infected with the heart-devouring goo. Yichen, did you mention it was a heart poison? Soran, you know it's a heart poison too? Soran nodded. I learned a little from an old Chinese medicine doctor in the village before. You've been poisoned in the heart, and it's already been 2 or 3 years. It seems the poisoner is on the inside. So now, I have at most a year left, right? This time, Soran's face showed none of the earlier worry. Instead, the corners of his mouth lifted slightly. With a confident and composed expression, he said, that was before. Now you have me. You promised to stay with me for a lifetime. After speaking, his expression suddenly changed. His tone also turned colder. But right now, we must first catch that rat in the gutter. I'll listen to you. But Ling Yichen was very curious in his heart. Why was his Soran so confident that she could clear the poison in his body? After all, Junin had repeatedly said that if only one person in this world could detoxify him, it could only be that elusive poison, Dr. Yinzu. If Yinzu couldn't be found, his outcome would only be death. But such doubts Ling Yichen did not voice. Since his Soran wanted to treat him, he would cooperate. Wasn't it just letting the little girl play with his life? He was willing. Looking at the man before her, who trusted her completely, Soran's heart could no longer suppress itself. Ling Yichen, wait for me for 2 years. Then let's get married, okay? Hearing the word marriage, Ling Yichen was stunned. Then he pulled Soran tightly into his arms, as if only this way, only then can I feel the reality of all this. Ran isn't lying to me. Ran never lies to Ling Yichen. As he said this, Soran's gaze towards Ling Yichen gained a trace of determination. We can't get the marriage certificate for now. Then why not use another way? Yichen Appa, carry me to the bedroom. Ling Yichen was still savoring what she said about getting married in his heart. He didn't notice at all Soran's cheeks gradually becoming flushed. Ling Yichen was very obedient. He picked up Soran and walked straight to the bedroom. Ling Yichen placed Soran on the bed. Although there was desire in his eyes, he didn't dare to make any improper moves. He restrainedly let go of Soran. But the next second, Ling Yichen's neck was hooked by Soran's jade-like hand. There was no escape. 10,000 words are omitted here. Beep. A sound came from the bedroom. At an inopportune time, Ling Yichen frowned and picked up his phone. An urgent voice came from the other end of the line. Boss, Zhao Guang is injured. It's serious. Junin is performing emergency treatment. ran. I have something to attend to and need to go out. You rest early, be good. After saying this, Ling Yichen prepared to walk out the door. But before he could even turn around, he was grabbed by Soran. When I came out with you, I saw the girl now holding a velvet pouch. 2.5 minutes later, the car stopped in front of a private villa. How is Zhao Guang's condition? Multiple injuries on the body. Abdominal penetrating injury. The most severe is the chest. The injury is too close to the heart. Dr. Li is still in the operating room. After Ling Yichen listened, he did not hesitate. He turned and was about to walk inside the villa. Yichen, let me go in too. I promise to return a perfectly healthy person to you. Ling Yichen's expression was troubled. He didn't want the girl to see the bloody scene. He was afraid of scaring the girl. But upon seeing Soren's determined eyes, he instinctively believed Soren's words. Old Jia, prepare 2 sets of sterile gowns. Old Jia did not hesitate either. These people of theirs have always unconditionally obeyed Ling Yichen's orders. Inside the operating room, Li Junan stood in the lead surgeon's position. Although wearing a mask, the tension in his eyes was still visible. The anesthesiologist beside him watched the instruments. Expression grave. Blood pressure is getting lower and lower. Dr. Li, the patient's heartbeat is almost gone. At that moment, a clear voice rang out in the operating room. I'm taking over this surgery. Everyone in the operating room was stunned. Li Junan, the lead surgeon, was about to question who was causing trouble. When he met Soren's determined gaze, he just thought Ling Yichen was insane. To bring that madwoman who threw Tengong into chaos here, and even let her cause such a ruckus. I believe in Soran. I will take full responsibility for all consequences. With Ling Yichen saying this, those few people in the operating room dared not object. They were just very curious about who exactly this woman beside Ling Yichen was. Soran ignored these people and had already come to Li Junan's side, taking out the set of silver needles she had prepared. Seeing that Li Junan showed no intention of moving aside, she only said coolly, "Don't delay me from saving someone." Li Junan was immediately furious, but before he could speak, he was directly pulled aside by Ling Yichen. Just as everyone was in a daze, Soran swiftly took out 6 silver needles, and with extremely fast speed, accurately and firmly inserted them into 6 acupoints on Zhao Guang. Li Junan was about to shout, "This is nonsense." But before he could say it, the anesthesiologist beside him suddenly spoke excitedly. The heart rate is rising. Blood pressure is rising too. At that, Li Junan directly shut up. All that remained was shock. Soran paid no attention and directly moved to the next step. Begin the surgery. Remove the shrapnel from the patient's chest. Scalpel. Her tone was cool, yet carried an undeniable aura of coercion. For some reason, the few people who were full of doubt moments ago, now all tacitly came to the operating table. The wound is too close to the heart and aorta. The difficulty is a bit high, Junan thought. When considering whether to switch positions with Soran, they saw Soren's scalpel had already made the incision. The speed of the movement, the proficiency of the technique, this level of skill isn't achieved without hundreds of surgical practices. It's unlikely to be mastered otherwise. Even Li Junan, hailed as a surgical genius, felt inferior by comparison. This Miss Gu, you, Junan, were so shocked you lost the ability to speak, stammering incoherently, failing to utter a single complete sentence. Meanwhile, Ling Yichen, who had been watching the entire surgery from not far away, went from initial nervousness to later astonishment, and was now completely numb. With a clink sound, the shrapnel made a crisp sound as it hit the metal tray, marking the approach of the surgery's end. The entire process took less than 10 minutes. The patient's vital signs were all stable. Blood pressure had returned to normal. and heart rate was nearly stable. The suturing is left to you. Notify me after the suturing is done. After saying this, Soran gave up the main surgeon's position, walked directly to the corner, and sat down. Though it was just a short surgery of over 10 minutes, it was extremely draining. At this moment, Soran could feel her back soaked with sweat. Tired? Should we go out first? Seeing Soran step away from the operating table, Ling Yichen immediately came over to wipe her sweat. Soran shook her head. She still had to remove the silver needles later. Rest assured, he is not in life-threatening danger. Later, I prescribe a round of traditional Chinese medicine to regulate his system for a week. I guarantee he'll be lively and energetic again. I believe you. Junan's suturing was also very quick. Just over 10 minutes later, he gave up his spot to Soran again. Watching her professional and skillful needle-removing technique, Junan grew very curious. Miss Su, I noticed your hemostatic needles seem different from those other TCM practitioners use. Don't misunderstand. I don't mean to doubt you. I'm just curious. Soran didn't hide it either. They are somewhat different. This needle technique of mine not only stops bleeding, but also protects the patient's heart meridian. Hearing this, a glint of gold flashed in Junan's eyes. Yet his gaze now held a trace of inquiry and amazement. If there's no fever within 24 hours, he'll be fine. Arrange for someone to prepare a dose of traditional Chinese medicine, and find a way to get him to drink it. Do not use any other medication. After speaking, Soran had already moved to Ling Yichen's side. Her tone also softened significantly. Let's go. Is there somewhere to rest here? The first 8 hours after surgery are the most critical. We'll stay here tonight. Alright, I'll take you to rest. Ling Yichen completely ignored everyone else in the operating room, took Soran's hand, and left directly. Young Master Li, who is that? Could she be our future mistress? The one asking was Lao Jia, who could be considered one of Ling Yichen's close confidants, though he's usually stationed at the Alliance base. It's already so obvious. You've known Yichen for so long. Have you ever seen him be this intimate with any other woman? Old Jia heard this and somehow blurted out what was on his mind. But this Miss Su looks too young. Is she even an adult? This is like an old cow eating young grass. Old Jia, have you been wanting to loosen your bones lately? How dare you say something so bold? Only then did old Jia realize what he had said. He gave a sheepish grin, slip of the tongue. But this Miss Su really does look very young. How could she not be young? She just turned adult 2 months ago. He thought about the age gap between Soran and Ling Yichen, and couldn't help but sigh. Ling Yichen is 28. Soran is only 18. There's almost a 3-generation gap. Old Jia, standing nearby, heard this. His eyes nearly popped out of his head. He blurted out again, he really does like them young. If he had made his move just a little earlier, it would have been a crime. After uttering this unpleasant remark, the corner of his mouth twitched slightly. Thinking about Ling Yichen and Soran's situation, he thought to himself, wasn't it almost a crime? That guy took her back to Tang Palace, right after she turned 18. And then he kept her confined in the bedroom there. If the people around Ling Yichen saw what he's like now, they'd probably have their entire worldview shattered. He's seen as a god in everyone's eyes. Those long, pristine hands of his should be signing contracts worth billions. He should be the one controlling the life and death of others. But now, he actually looks like he's enjoying doing this kind of servile work, and even has an expression of wanting more. Yichen, why wasn't today's injured person sent to the Alliance hospital? Weren't they injured during a mission? Hearing this, a coldness flashed across Ling Yichen's originally gentle face, gone in an instant. But Soran still caught it. Someone wants to harm you, right? You're also from the Alliance base, aren't you? Soran asked this intentionally. After all, he has lived 2 lifetimes and already knows the hidden identity behind Ling Yichen. Faced with Soran's question, Ling Yichen hesitated somewhat. It wasn't that he wanted to hide anything, but sometimes, the more one knows, the less safe they are. He only wanted Soran to remain untouched by the world's dust, to be a beloved little princess without a care. But he knew. He couldn't hide it from the wise girl before him. Ran, you're right. I am also from the Alliance. Zhao Guang is my subordinate. This operation was clearly a trap. The target was me. And Zhao Guang and the others were merely pawns in those people's power struggle. I don't know if the Alliance Hospital has their people for Zhao Guang's safety and to crush their conspiracy. The news of Zhao Guang's injury must absolutely not get out. Is it Han Muse? This is the first time this name has been mentioned since being reborn. And the moment Ling Yichen heard this name, his face immediately darkened. His gaze toward Soran also grew more distant. Suddenly, a disappointed and somewhat mocking cold laugh came from Ling Yichen in the room. So just now you weren't asking, but testing me, right? You've known my identity all along, haven't you? It must have been Han Muse who told you, right? What else did he tell you? To deal with me? Or to stay by my side and find an opportunity to pass on messages? Soran didn't expect Ling Yichen to have such a strong reaction. Looking at the man in despair and pain, her own heart felt as if it were being cut by a knife. It seems some things must be laid out clearly. Brother Acheng, 5 years ago in the Iju war zone, did you save a girl in the gladiator arena? Brother Acheng, I am that girl you saved. I still remember when you carried me out of the cage and said to me, "Don't be afraid, little one. I'll take you home." Brother Acheng, do you remember? Ling Yichen's body stiffened. A look of astonishment flashed in his eyes as he carefully examined the girl before him. But he couldn't connect her to that frail little girl, no matter how hard he tried. Soran, how could it be you? Weren't you in Tian village all these years? Done fooling around. In her excitement, she forgot that she was just a girl living in Tiankin village, a country bumpkin. How on earth did she cross oceans and continents and end up in the war zone of Iju? Soran lowered her head, feeling guilty deep down. How was she going to explain this? Yichen Appa. I don't know either. I went out to work. Then I encountered human traffickers. I woke up and found myself there. Ling Yichen certainly didn't believe it, given that Soran would disappear without reason every year. And no matter how he investigated, he couldn't find out anything. It was clear that this girl in front of him was not simple, especially the remarkable medical skills she had just displayed. I'm afraid even the medical PAAHDAADDDDHEHE Li Junin couldn't compare. During every mission, we always cover up very thoroughly. How did you know it was me? Han Muse said it. After you saved me back then, I accidentally got a photo of you all during a mission. Han Muse saw it. But he claimed that person was him. So I mistakenly thought he was you. Hearing this, the thing Ling Yichen couldn't figure out finally had a reasonable explanation. No wonder Soran, who just returned to Nanchang, suddenly got together with Han Muse. Even though the Su and Han families had a marriage arrangement, it didn't mean they'd fall madly in love right after meeting. So her Soran was in love with the person who saved her back then. Soran, then how did you know it was me? Because of these eyes. Even after all these years, I've always remembered these eyes. It's a pity that in my past life, my heart was blinded by that scumbag. So I never realized it. She could only keep deceiving Ling Yichen for now. All of this was something Han Muse personally admitted. Right before her death in her previous life, Ling Yichen felt the girl in his arms relying on him, and finally let his guard down. Whatever, I'll believe her this once. Sensing the man beside her relaxing, she secretly let out a sigh of relief too. Otherwise, she really wouldn't have known how to explain it. Should she say she was reborn? She was afraid that if she said it, Ling Yichen would send her straight to a mental hospital. Yichen Appa. So there's someone in the Alliance base who wants to harm you. Ling Yichen nodded. He didn't explain his identity within the Alliance base. Han Muse has always wanted to replace me. So is Yichen Appa stronger than Han Muse now? Not just now. I've never even considered that guy a rival. To me, he's just a clown, Ling Yichen said with a proud expression. Hearing this, Saran felt a pain in her chest. Yes. Even 10 Han Muses wouldn't be a match for Ling Yichen. But in the previous life, Han Muse got hold of Ling Yichen's weakness, forcing him to act with restraint every time. So Yichen Appa has a way to deal with Han Muse, right? Someone like him doesn't deserve to stay in the Alliance base at all. Hearing Soren's words, Ling Yichen smiled with great satisfaction. You really don't care about Han Muse at all. Yichen Appa. If I said I want Han Muse dead more than anyone else, would you believe me? Ling Yichen looked at Soran and slightly frowned. He clearly sensed that when Soran said those words, a cold flash of killing intent flickered in her eyes. Ling Yichen isn't stupid. He doesn't believe that this hint of killing intent from Soran is just because Han Muse deceived her. But he didn't press further. Forget it, I'll trust this girl one more time. Why are you staring at me like that? Hearing the voice, Ling Yichen collected his thoughts. Soran, you are very different. Soran heard this. She wasn't the slightest bit nervous. Instead, she smiled and leaned in close to Ling Yichen's face. Their faces were almost touching. How am I different? So, Cheng Jej, did you prefer how I was before? Or how I am now? Feeling the warm breath from Soren's words, Ling Yichen subconsciously and quietly swallowed. As long as it's Soran. I like you any way you are. In front of me. Soran doesn't need to hide herself. As long as you're happy, anything is fine. As soon as the words were spoken, Soran stole another kiss from him. Chen Appa, we have a lifetime ahead of us. You will get to know the most real me. Soran never thought of hiding anything from Ling Yichen. She just felt some identities weren't suitable to reveal at this moment. She is currently hiding her strength, playing dumb to catch others off guard. Maybe one day, she can be the beauty who saves the hero. Who says only the hero can save the beauty? She's going to have a beauty save the hero. Ling Yichen also respects Soran. As long as this woman stays by his side, that's enough. As for what kind of person Soran is, he doesn't care. And at this time, in a certain detached villa in Nanchang, the living room was in complete disarray. A girl with a ferocious expression sat on the sofa. Soon, someone walked in from outside the main door. What is the meaning of this? How did it get so messy? My dear daughter, Ru Nu En, what's wrong? Who bullied you? Mommy, it's all because of that Soran. She went too far. Before, every time I went to see her, she would warmly welcome me. Today, I don't know what got into her. But she didn't even let me through the gate of Tiangyang. Do you know how cold it was today? I waited outside for over 10 minutes. The wind gave me a headache. Sobs hearing her daughter's complaint. She also started to blame. That bitch really thinks that by living in Tiangyang, she can climb the branches and become a phoenix. Is Mr. Ling someone she can aspire to? Husband, you have to think of a way. She still holds 30% of the S Group's shares. If she really gets involved with that Mr. Ling, can we still get those shares back? The woman's face was full of anger and greed. Everything was planned so well. Bring that bitch back. Complete the marriage alliance with the HN family. And then work with HNMZ to secure that 30% of shares. But just then, this mysterious Mr. Ling suddenly appeared, unexpectedly taking that bitch away, completely disrupting all their plans. Ru Nu En, hasn't HNMZ gone to see that bitch these past few days? Listen to this family of three. Soran doesn't even have a name in their eyes. Soran heard her father mention HNMZ. That just makes me even angrier. Daddy, I just don't get it. Why must you let that stupid country bumpkin marry Mu Appa? Clearly, Mu Appa and I are the ones who belong together. I'm telling you, you're so short-sighted. Don't forget why we brought her back in the first place. Isn't it just for the shares in her hands? Then why does it have to be a marriage alliance? I think if we just pretend to be nice to her, she'll definitely hand over those shares. Ruin, have you forgotten the will your uncle left? Those 30% shares can only be possessed after that dead girl gets married. Then why does it have to be Mu Appa? Can't we just find someone random for her? The Han family isn't just Mu Appa alone. Soran still looked displeased. She and Mu Appa grew up together since childhood. She has her heart set on marrying Mu Appa. Just thinking about that man of notable status from Tengong actually liking a country girl who didn't even finish elementary school made her even angrier. Dad, what exactly is the identity of that Mr. Ling from Tengong? I only heard he's the young master of the Yun family from North City who was lost outside. Seems like he's the child of the Yun family's eldest young lady, who went missing over 20 years ago. Hearing about the Yun family from North City, Soren's eyes lit up. The Yun family is the #1 great family in North City. They're even more powerful than the Han family of South City. This Mr. Ling could be my man. That doesn't seem too bad either. As Soran was lost in her thoughts, Yu Mengjio handed a bottle of transparent potion to Soran. Ruin, if you see that wretched girl next time, find a way to put this medicine in her food. Soran took the potion. This wasn't the first time anyway, but she had always been curious about what exactly was inside. Dad, what is this medicine for? It damages the nervous system. Taken long-term and paired with a powerful hypnotist, it can control the target's consciousness. I'm just taking precautions. If that damn girl keeps holding onto those shares and refuses to let go, then don't blame me for being ruthless. Upon hearing this, Soran immediately understood what was going on. If Soran had heard this at the time, she would have understood why in her previous life she often felt dazed and confused, with a foggy consciousness, as if many things she did were beyond her control. The next day, inside the Sandalwood Palace, Ling Yichen looked at the man before him, frowning slightly. Ran knows of me being poisoned. She said, there are 2 types of poison in my body. One is the one you know about. The gathering of 3 is critical. There's also another chronic heart loss poison. I wonder if you've heard of it. What heart loss poison? Li Junan shot straight up from the sofa, his face full of shock and fear. Yichen, you're not joking, are you? Do you think I would joke about something like this? However, Soran said, she has a way to help me detoxify. Just based on her? Li Junan was about to say that she can't do anything, but then he thought about Soren's performance in the operating room yesterday. The words at the tip of his tongue were swallowed back. So you believe she can detoxify the poison in your body? Ling Yichen looked completely calm, as if he wasn't the one poisoned at all. Of course, at the very least, she was able to detect through pulse taking that there's another toxin in my body. Over the past 6 months, you've drawn quite a lot of my blood, right? Yet you never once detected it. Hearing this, Lin Junan felt so ashamed and angry that he wished he could find a hole to crawl into. Yichen, Miss Su is too young. Don't judge someone by their age. You should know that saying, right? Since you don't have a solution right now, why not let Soran give it a try? Ling Yichen's attitude was firm. It wasn't that he didn't trust Lin Junan, but he also wanted to see exactly how capable his woman was. He was betting his 1 year of life on this girl's ability to create a miracle. At worst, it would mean death. Soran said she'll start my treatment soon, and she might need your help to procure some supplies. Yichen, these are small matters, but I need to be involved in this process from start to finish. Saying this, the man feared Ling Yichen would refuse, so he played his trump card. I don't care if you don't agree. I'll call the old master. After hearing this, Ling Yichen frowned deeply. I need to discuss this with Soran. As for the old master, if you think things are too easy for me here, you're free to tell him all about my current situation. After saying that, he stood up and walked out of the room, leaving a stunned Li Junan behind. Ling Yichen and Soran had just entered the dining room when Li Junan approached them. Miss Su, did you really just learn medicine from a village herbalist for a few years? Soran nodded. She thought to herself that she had indeed only studied with her master for 3 years. But by then, her master had nothing left to teach her, because the girl's skills seemed to have surpassed her master's. Later, she went abroad and studied Western medicine for a few years, only to accidentally become an expert. So, are you confident you can cure Yichen? Even if I say yes, you probably wouldn't believe me, right? In that case, what difference does it make whether I answer or not? It's better to prove it through actions. Miss Su, could you please be a bit more serious? Li Junan was infuriated by Soran's casual attitude. Facing Li Junan's questioning, Soran turned to look at Ling Yichen beside her, blinking her innocent, harmless eyes. Brother Chen, am I not being serious? Ling Yichen shot a cold glare at Li Junan, then gently rubbed Soran's soft head. Of course not. Soran is very sorry. Exactly, I can be careless about anything, but when it involves Yichen Appa, I'm definitely 100% serious. Yichen Appa. If the two parties in a cooperation don't have trust, then it's better not to cooperate at all. Ling Yichen looked at Li Junan, his eyes full of clear warning and threat. Li Junan just felt a chill on his neck. He knew that if he didn't state his position soon, what awaited him might be 100 sparring sessions. Miss Su, what are you saying? I was just joking. How could I not trust you? Soran snorted coldly in her heart, but still gave Li Junan face, proactively reaching out her hand and saying, then, a pleasant cooperation. Just as Li Junan was about to shake it, he saw Ling Yichen directly take Soran's hand into his own palm. Then, smiling at Li Junan, he said, the treatment will start immediately. I feel you can go prepare the supplies. The said person had no choice but to sheepishly leave the room. Soon, he ran back and carrying large and small bags. Inside the room, Ling Yichen watched Soran busily working for him. Gently stroking her head, he said tenderly, it's going to be hard on you later. Ran. Seeing this scene, couldn't help but complain. I'm the one running around till I'm sweaty. How come no one cares about me? Whatever, a real man doesn't fight with a woman. And this brother who forgets friendship for beauty. Soran, do you really have a way to detoxify the poison in Yichen's body? What if I don't have a way? Then no one in this world could do it. Soran has always been confident in his expertise, but Li Junan doesn't think so. He curled his lips and said, are you better than the poison doctor? When Soran heard Li Junan mention the poison doctor, he pretended to ask casually, looking for the poison doctor? Exactly. The poison doctor has always been elusive. We spent 200 million to find clues about him. But so far, there's been no news. But it's okay if we can't find the poison doctor. We heard that Dr. Lan will come to South City this afternoon. We'll see if we can meet him. After listening, Soran just wanted to say, the world is too small. Fate runs too deep. Then he looked gently at Ling Yichen, Brother Aiken. The treatment might be a bit painful later. You'll have to bear with it. It's okay, I'm not afraid of pain. Go ahead, do whatever it takes. Li Junan, standing nearby, rolled his eyes. With this attitude, even if Soran told Ling Yichen to die right now, this guy wouldn't hesitate. Indeed, a beautiful face brings disaster. The ancients truly didn't lie. Then, Brother Acheng, take off your clothes and lie down on the bed over there. Take everything off? Li Junan, nearby, rolled his eyes again. Why does this sound a bit flirtatious? If Brother Acheng doesn't mind having an outsider here, I have no problem with it. Sooner or later, you'll be mine anyway. Hey Emph, Who's afraid of whom? It's just seeing some things that shouldn't be seen. It all depends on whether you have the guts for it. As soon as Soran finished speaking, Ling Yichen remained relatively calm. But it shocked Li Junan, who was standing nearby, so much that his jaw dropped to the floor. Is this how this damn couple usually interacts in private? What kind of shameless talk is this? Could you two tone it down a bit? Can't you see there's someone else here? Soran and Ling Yichen exchanged a smile, making it clear that what was just said was all in jest. However, Ling Yichen ended up taking off his shirt. Soran looked at the man's body, unable to suppress her blushing and racing heart. In her mind, she couldn't help but flash to some inappropriate, adult-only images. Fortunately, reason still prevailed. After a brief daze, she began to administer acupuncture to Ling Yichen. Having witnessed Soran's loss of composure the previous night, Li Junan wasn't too curious, and just stood silently to the side. But when Soran took out the 19th needle, Li Junan's expression began to change, from initial confusion to later disbelief. And finally, when Soran placed the 36th needle, Li Junan's entire jaw nearly dropped in shock. How do you know soul chasing? The 36 needles? No, that's not right. That's the exclusive acupuncture technique of the poison doctor. What is your relationship with the poison doctor? Are you Du Yi's disciple? But that can't be right. I never heard that Du Yi took on any apprentices. Li Junan felt his heart was almost jumping into his throat. This 18-year-old girl. How could she have the unique secret needle technique? The apprentice did it. It must be the apprentice. If it wasn't the apprentice, how would she know the soul-chasing 36 needles? Soran was a bit tired after just trying the needles. He had just sat down when Li Junan bombarded him with a series of questions. He originally thought he couldn't keep it hidden anymore. He was still thinking about how to explain. Unexpectedly, this guy directly found a reason for her. When Li Junan asked if she was the poison doctor's apprentice, Ling Yichen was also somewhat shocked inside. His eyes also held a hint of an inscrutable smile. Yes, the poison doctor is my master. But my master is very low-key in her actions, so no one knows she has an apprentice. Hearing this, Li Junan immediately became excited. He rushed swiftly to Soran's front. If not for hearing Ling Yichen's warning cough, Li Junan would probably have grabbed Soran's hand by now. You're really the poison doctor's apprentice? Then can you find your master? If the old master is here, then the poison in Yichen's body can definitely be completely cleansed. Regarding the doctor being an old master, Soran just felt a headache coming on. Then, pretending to be calm, she spoke up. My master's whereabouts are unpredictable, so I don't know where she is right now either. Then what if you have an extremely urgent, critical matter? Tough luck, Soran replied lightly. The ball of fiery enthusiasm in Li Junan's heart was instantly extinguished, but he still felt somewhat unwilling to give up. Soran, do you really not know where the poison doctor senior is? Aren't you worried about Yichen's condition? With just the two of us, when will we ever develop the antidote? You are you, I am me. I have inherited my master's true teachings. A mere 2 poisons can't do anything to me. Go check if the medicinal bath is ready. After the needles are removed in a bit, Yichen Appa will need to soak in the medicinal bath. Interrupted by Soran, Li Junan could only leave in disappointment. However, he had already made up his mind. In this lifetime, he must become Du Yi's disciple. Thinking that Soran would become his senior sister in the future, Junan immediately decided to treat Soran better. What if this future senior sister badmouths him to the master? It wouldn't be good if the master then refuses to take him as a disciple. After the medicinal water was prepared in the tub, Soran removed Ling Yichen's needles and had him sit in the tub. At first, Ling Yichen felt as if his whole body was being pricked by needles, like thousands of insects were gnawing at him. But after enduring for over 10 minutes, Ling Yichen began to feel a sense of relief, unlike anything he had ever experienced before. Li Junan, who was watching from the side, was stunned. Is Soren's medicinal bath this amazing? Can I take a soak too? You can give it a try. But given your physique, you'll probably pass out from the pain the first couple of times. No way, my body is tough as nails. I usually take great care of it. No matter how you say it, it can't be worse than Yichen's body. Is that so? It seems Dr. Li needs to have a thorough, comprehensive checkup. Especially your kidneys. Don't let it affect human reproduction in the future. Holy shit, no way. Soren, don't you scare me with alarmist talk. This young master can do it 7 times in one night. If you don't believe me, there's nothing I can do. Healers can't heal themselves. I understand, I get it. Soren lowered her head and glanced at her watch again. Said, I have to go meet someone in a bit. I won't be joining you for lunch. Ling Yichen heard she was leaving, frowned tightly. But remembering that Soren had mentioned yesterday about going to meet someone, could only nod and say, then I'll have Shanzor pick you up. Half an hour later, in front of the Boya Residence Hotel, Soren looked at Shanzor, who had followed her out of the car. Assistant Shan, order whatever you want to eat. I'll pick up the bill later. The meaning was clear. He also wanted to follow into the private room. Shanzor hesitated for a moment, but thinking of young Master Chen's instructions before setting off, had no choice but to obediently nod. Then took out his phone and sent a message. Young Master Chen, Miss Su's friend. The meeting place is also at Boya Residence. At this time, Li Junan's office, however, demanded. Shan Yo should also be at Boya Residence now, right? Ling Yichen only let out a light grunt, then immediately got up and walked towards the door. Hey, where are you going? In a moment. Aren't we going to check out the results of Lab 3? Upon hearing this at Boya Residence, Li Junan immediately chased after her. Wait for me, I'll go with you. Inside the hotel lobby, the manager only took one look at the card in the girl's hand and instantly became tense, because there are only 2 such cards in the entire world. The owners of these 2 cards are one man and one woman. And clearly, the girl before him is one of them. Is your boss here? Hearing this, the manager couldn't help but tremble. The boss is here. Shall I inform the boss to come see you? No need. Take me to a private room first. You can just notify Jiangnan later. She knows what to do. The manager respectfully led Soren to a private room door. Miss Su, I'll be right outside. If you need anything, just let me know. Soren waved her hand and entered the room. Inside, a cheerful male voice could be heard. On the phone, discussing something. The moment Soren entered, the man hurriedly ended the call. Then, with an eager expression, spread his arms and walked towards Soren. Little junior sister, I finally get to see you. Your second senior brother missed you so much. When the man was less than half a meter away from Soren, Soren heartlessly blocked approach with both hands. That's enough, second senior brother. Watch out or you'll lose an arm. Did you bring everything I asked for? Lanko looked embarrassed. This little junior sister of his was perfect in every way. She just didn't like having overly intimate contact with others. Even if it was these Marshall brothers who had grown up with her since childhood. It was not allowed. If anyone tried to force it, then sorry about that. Without exception, they would all be subjected to a one-sided beating from this soft and cute little junior sister. Lanko adjusted the glasses on the bridge of his nose, then pushed a suitcase to Soren's side. It's all in here. As he spoke, Lanko's hand quickly grabbed Soren's arm. Soren instinctively tried to break free. But this time, Lanko did not yield to Soren. Little junior sister, am also just following our master's orders. If I don't get to check your pulse today, master might personally come to Nan City. Hearing this, Soren gave up resisting. allowing Lanko to take her pulse. A hint of guilt flickered in the depths of her eyes. It's just some low-grade neurotoxin that's not worth mentioning. Senior, brother, don't you know me by now? Is there any poison in this world that can truly challenge me? Although she had no choice but to come clean. If Master were truly alerted, then she would truly have no peace in Nan City. Lanko's expression remained calm. He quietly checked her pulse. After just a moment, he slightly frowned and made a tutting sound with his mouth. Tsk, tsk, tsk. How actually puppet poison. But I am quite curious. How did you get infected with? Lanko's face no longer held the tension and worry from taking the pulse earlier. Instead, it revealed a hint of teasing. The puppet poison lives up to its name. The poisoned person will be hypnotized. Like a puppet, completely controlled by others. Soran was also speechless. She could only blame the poisoner for being very sinister. The poison was administered right after Ling Yichen brought her back to Tan Palace, because at that time, she thought her irritability and short temper were due to not wanting to be imprisoned by Ling Yichen. Even the best horse can stumble. Am I not allowed an occasional oversight? After saying this, she looked at the suitcase beside her. What's all this? Such a big suitcase. It's all because our master is afraid you might be bullied in Nan City. Half of it was entrusted to me by the master to bring to you. All our elixirs the master has refined recently. Hearing this, Soren's eyes immediately lit up. Are there longevity pills? Yes, the master prepared a large bottle for you. But the master said, the potency might not be as good as what you refine. It's fine. The master's refined potency is sufficient. Lanko didn't know what Soran wanted the longevity pills for. But these things have a price, yet are unavailable on the market, already speculated to over 100 million per pill. Only a few of us, senior and junior disciples, don't take these pills seriously. For a while, Soran directly ate these pills like candy, resulting in excessive internal heat, causing nosebleeds every day. By the way, little junior sister, the master asked me to bring you a message. What kind of decent words could that old man possibly come up with? Seeing Soren's attitude, Lanko just gave an indulgent smile. Among these fellow apprentices, only this little junior sister isn't the least bit afraid of the master, and she always manages to piss the master off. In the end, the master still has to hurry over and apologize to the little junior sister. This matter isn't difficult. The master just wants you to experience campus life. When it came to attending school, Lanko got annoyed again. The little junior sister has never seriously attended school, but her unbelievably amazing performances really made these senior brothers feel ashamed. Finished junior high in 1 year, graduated high school in 2 years, directly got into the #1 globally ranked state alliance, and completed her MPAAHDAADDDDHEHE in medicine within 5 years of university. During that time, she also minored in finance and information science. Hearing this, Soran slightly frowned. She hadn't even figured out how to refuse Ling Yichen's school plan yet. And now, the master himself had to get involved too. Second senior brother asked me to think it over. Right at that moment, Soren's expression suddenly changed. In the next second, she practically flashed to the private room door. At the exact same time, the private room door was opened. Soren's reaction was almost instinctive. Her fist was already flying toward the person who had suddenly barged in. The man reacted very swiftly too, instinctively blocking. When Soran saw the other person's face clearly, their expressions were identical. Shanyo and Shanzor were the same. Both were Ling Yichen's people. However, one of them operated openly, while the other worked in secret. Fortunately, at that moment, Shanzor, who had arrived a step late, appeared at the door. Miss Su Anzor was visibly startled. He had thought it was all a coincidence, but now it seemed that Dr. Lan, whom they were looking for, was apparently the person Miss Su had arranged to meet. Soran paid no attention to the surprise on Shanzor's face, asking coldly what was going on. Miss Su, do you know Dr. Lan? You're having a meal together. Is any explanation even needed? Stop the nonsense. What's your purpose? Soran was in a very bad mood. It was rare for her to have a meal with her senior brother, and it was suddenly interrupted. If it were her old temper, these two would definitely end up with broken arms and legs. Shanzor also sensed that Soran was on the verge of fury, and quickly came clean. Miss Su, we're here to find Dr. Lan for the poison inside Yichen. Shanzor nodded, holding nothing back. Lanko, who had been hiding in the corner, now stepped forward. You know my man's people? Lanko frowned slightly. Hun Muse, don't even mention that scumbag. My man is Ling Yichen. I plan to get married and register with him when I turn 20. What little junior sister? You haven't even been gone that long, and you've already gone through 2 sets of men around you. What the hell is this Ling Yichen thing anyway? Little junior sister, you better not get scammed. I'm telling you. There isn't a single decent man out there. Shanzor Shanyo, who was standing nearby, twitched his eyelids slightly, thinking it's a good thing their master wasn't here. Otherwise, he would definitely have to have it out with this Dr. Lan. And this Dr. Lan, doesn't he realize he just insulted himself too? Hearing Lanko's words, Soran chuckled lightly and said, Senior brother, you're a man too. Lanko didn't care at all. I know, I never said I was a good guy. So, little junior sister, don't be foolish anymore. You're so capable. Why do you need a man? Isn't it great to be independent and fabulous on your own? If you're just thinking about continuing the next generation in the future, then this is even less of a problem. We're all medical professionals. This can't possibly stump us. Shanzor and Shanyo trembled with fear. These words absolutely must not reach their master. Given their master's temper, there's no telling what kind of madness might ensue. Second senior brother, let me say it again. Ling Yichen is my man. Don't you dare speak ill of him. You know how I am. Lanko met Soren's eyes and didn't dare say a thing. Seeing her senior brother quiet down, Soran shifted her gaze to the 2 brothers. They immediately shuddered and stood up perfectly straight. Oh, God, this is terrifying. Why do they feel the same intimidating pressure from Miss Su that they feel from their master? Miss Su, the poison inside you too. My senior brother can't cure it. Don't bother asking him. Forget it, I'll tell Yichen about this myself later. If there's nothing else, get out. Don't disturb my senior brother and me from drinking. Hearing they could leave, Shanzor, as if granted a royal pardon, pulled his still dazed brother along and hurriedly left. As soon as the private room door closed, Lanko asked, somewhat displeased, Junior sister, I really didn't like what you said just now. What poison? Could there be that I can't cure? Soran acted as if she'd heard a joke, replying coldly, the new poison agent G3. Lanko was just thinking of what else to say. When he heard these 2 names, the whole person immediately stood up. Holy shit, what kind of deep-seated hatred is this? So that man of yours is a short-lived devil. Lanko felt a cold, sharp gaze. He shrunk his neck, immediately said with a laugh, Hey, senior brother. Just kidding. Don't look at me like that. Do you think the king of hell would dare to snatch someone from my hands? Lanko immediately shook his head. Nonsense. He knew his junior sister's medical skills all too well. Junior sister, if you have some free time. Well, senior brother's research funding is a bit tight. There happens to be an auction in North City half a month from now. You get it. Suddenly thought about it. Coincidentally, she also needed to refine some elixirs for Ling Yichen. It would just be a matter of convenience. Alright, I guarantee I'll give you 20 pills before the auction. Is that enough? When Lanko heard this, He was instantly overjoyed. The transaction price for one life extension pill is around 60 million. So 20 pills would be 1.2 billion. Lanko's eyes turned starry. Nodding like a money grubber, he said, enough. More than enough, junior sister. You really are senior brothers. Good junior sister. Ha, so I'm the good junior sister? Only when there's money. I never said all 20 pills are for you. We split the proceeds from the auction 50-50. Junior sister, are you very short on money? Lanko looked suspicious. It shouldn't be the case, right? Among their group of senior and junior brothers and sisters, the wealthiest by far is the little junior sister. She has all sorts of channels for making money. Logically speaking, shouldn't care about those trivial little amounts. Who would ever complain about having too much money? Later, I'll adjust 2 more cents. Please help me get in touch with the auction house. After finishing the meal, Soran returned to Tang Palace. On the way back, Soran was busy on his phone the entire time. What, boss? About the firewall construction from last time. The other party just agreed. Soran raised an eyebrow slightly. Which local tycoon is this? They agreed so easily, making Soran wonder if his asking price was too low. Soon, the car stopped at the entrance of Tang Palace. As soon as the car door opened, Soran saw a handsome face. Soran, are you tired? Do you want me to carry you inside? Yichen Appa. Not tired. He. It's good to have you. Silly, it's me. Who's lucky to have you? But I never expected, my Soran, to actually be senior and junior fellow disciples with that Dr. Lan. You've been hiding your skills deeply, Soran guessed Ling Yichen would ask. So she moved close to the corner of his mouth and said, I'm very impressive. So, do you have more confidence in me now? Ling Yichen certainly knew what Soran was referring to. He patted her head and said, I already believed in Soran. If you say you can detoxify me, I believe it. Ling Yichen noticed Shanzor carrying a large suitcase, and curiously asked, what is this? Shanzor also had a completely bewildered look. I remember helping Soran carry the suitcase at the time. Almost threw my back out. It was just too heavy. Treasures my master gave me. After saying that, he opened the suitcase. Ling Yichen leaned in for a closer look. Next to various bottles and jars were some medicinal herbs, emitting a strong herbal aroma. These are just some pills that extend lifespan and cure all kinds of diseases. The speaker meant no harm, but the listener took it seriously. Shanzor had a dumbfounded look on his face. What do you mean, just? This is the elixir of immortality, not some common cabbage. Even the usually aloof Ling Yichen could barely keep his composure. This girl of his is still so fiery. In the bedroom, Soran was still rummaging through the suitcase, taking out the contents, and placing them one by one on the table. Ling Yichen looked at all the bottles and jars on the table. Curiously, he asked, are all these? Yeah, this is detox pill. This is longevity pill. As he spoke, he picked up a bottle and tossed it to Ling Yichen. Luckily, Ling Yichen was quick, or else millions would have been wasted. But the blood replenishment pill is very effective for those who have lost too much blood. It also helps speed up wound healing. Have someone deliver it to those who were injured last night. Their minor injuries don't need such good medicine. Soran was busy organizing things, and didn't notice the shock on Ling Yichen's face at all. It's fine, I have plenty more here. As he spoke, he pointed to a plump white porcelain jar on the table. There's still a big bottle over there. Ling Yichen looked in the direction Soran was pointing. The corner of his mouth twitched. That white porcelain jar on the table, compared to the small vial in his own hand, was like a grandson meeting his grandfather. Ling Yichen suddenly thought of something. He spoke up, then can you give me a bit more? I want to equip my team with some of these pills. When Soran heard this, he acted out of character. protecting that medicine jar in his arms like a stubborn ox. He looked at Ling Yichen warily, his eyes filled with vigilance. No, I need to take this to auction later. All right. Ling Yichen saw Soren's protective, food-guarding demeanor, and felt his heart melting from how adorable it was. You're short on money? Soren nodded like pounding garlic. Oh, I really am. My pockets are completely empty right now. Even the beggars on the street have more money than me. Ling Yichen looked at Soren's utterly serious and pitiful expression, and suddenly felt that this was his own failing. He immediately took out a card and handed it to Soren. Soren took a look. Oh my, she was familiar with this card. A global diamond black card. Take this for now. There's no spending limit. The pin is your birthday. Buy whatever you want, just swipe it. Soren kept staring at that card. It was so tempting. But she felt conflicted inside. Should she be an independent woman? Better to be a little freeloader. Just happily accept it. After much internal debate, she felt that in front of Ling Yichen, she should just be a happy little freeloader. Her man would take care of her. She would take care of those research labs. Yes, it's happily decided just like that. So Soren directly took the card. Since you're so generous, then I'll just give you a discount. 50% off, okay? Can't go any lower. Ling Yichen looked at Soren's conflicted expression and found it utterly adorable. He hadn't expected this little woman to be such a money grubber. No need for a discount. 100,000 for 10 grams, right? Can I get a batch from here? I'll transfer the money to you shortly. How about 20 million? Wouldn't that be too much? Look at how hard you work every day. Earning money isn't easy. It's fine, consider it equipped for the alliance members. It'll go through the public account. When Soren heard this, her mind started racing. Public account, huh? You should have said so earlier. Then I have some other medicine here that's suitable for them. See if you want to get them together. With that, Soren started all sorts of promotions. For bruises and injuries, for boosting energy and nourishing blood, for strengthening the body. All sorts of things. Ling Yichen was happy to watch her antics, finding this little girl more and more whimsical and quirky, and liking her more the more he looked. After nearly an hour of promoting, Soren had worked very hard. Earned 100 million from Ling Yichen with mixed feelings. Soren looked at the long string of zeros that had just arrived in the account. His smile stretched from ear to ear. Looking at the pile of medicine bottles in front of Ling Yichen, he thought for a moment, then took out a white jade bottle from his side. This is my gift to you. There are 10 pills inside. They can save your life in critical moments. Ling Yichen didn't ask any questions, and simply accepted it. Hey, you better take care of that. It's extremely valuable. That's the advanced version of the detox pills. Seeing Soren treating it like a treasure, Ling Yichen also became a bit more serious. He found a special box to store that small porcelain bottle. The rest, he casually stuffed into a shopping bag and tossed it aside. After working for a while, it got dark. Ling Yichen looked at Soren, who was still organizing things. Soren, what would you like to eat tonight? Anything, I'm not picky. Alright then, I'll make you steamed cod, sweet and sour pork, garlic oysters, and stir-fry 2 seasonal vegetables. They also delivered some beef bones this morning. I had someone stew them into soup. It's been simmering for hours. Should be ready to drink by now. Hearing this, Soren seemed to remember something. He looked up in surprise. Yichen Appa, are you going to cook? Ling Yichen had already started taking off his jacket. He nodded and said, I've wanted to cook for you for a long time. I wonder if Soren will give me this chance. You're too good to me. With that, she immediately threw herself into Ling Yichen's arms and gave him a kiss. Right at that moment, a frantic voice shattered the warm scene. Something terrible has happened, young Master Chen. Our defense system has been attacked again.